Martin Luther King Jr. was a civil rights activist that stood for what he believed in and paved the way for many positive changes for African Americans' lives in the United States. If it weren't for King's bravery and mindset, the same discrimination and unfairness on the basis of race and background may still be the same today as it was way back then. James Earl Ray is the man that assassinated Martin Luther King Jr. on April 4th, 1968. King was murdered while he stood defenseless on the balcony of his second-floor room at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee. James Earl Ray had his .30-06 Remington rifle across the street in a boarding house, which is where he shot King from. However, how Dr. King lived is much more important than how he died. Let's take a look and see the legacy that King left. Dr. King was a big part of the infamous March on Washington. He made a massively important speech that left a great impact on civil rights and landed him a large position in American history. King was an influential leader. His efforts for civil rights in America did not go unnoticed. He was arrested in Birmingham, Alabama in 1963. This location in particular was no easy place to live for blacks at the time. King was arrested while protesting the treatment of blacks in said location specifically. President John F. Kennedy sent his brother Robert Kennedy to Atlanta to meet a judge on King's behalf and to set King free. President Kennedy believed King was incarcerated unjustly.
Yeah, this is President Kennedy. I want Martin Luther King Jr. out of jail now.
King is once again a free man thanks to John and Robert Kennedy saving him from big jail time. As you might expect, King didn't lose his ambition and kept on with his goals.
How's it going? What do you want?
Well, see, the civil rights movement itself, so, equality, mainly, but I've been thinking for a little while that everybody should have equal rights, and that it would be fair, if we were.
Dr. King was no stranger to big obstacles and heavy adversity. He came back from his house being bombed in 1956, which would be a challenge for anyone to bounce back from. Although they never had the chance to meet, King was inspired by the ideals of Mahatma Gandhi, with whom he shared the beliefs of achieving success through nonviolent means. King learned about Gandhi through writings and a trip to India that King took in 1959. Dr. King and Malcolm X only met once. However, their methods for trying to achieve civil rights differed from one another. As previously said, King believed in nonviolent methods, while Malcolm X opted for violent methods of achieving civil rights. Dr. King is especially well known due to his I Have a Dream speech on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, where he expresses his desire for people not to discriminate on the grounds of race. In this speech, he repeatedly states what his hopes for the future are.
I have a dream. I have a dream. I have a dream.
Lastly, as one might expect, King's death left many in a state of mourning, especially those closest to him.
Leave.
Special thanks to Mr. Jones for playing President Kennedy.